Thank you for joining us for WEBN General News. I'm Caroline Reese.
And I'm Bishop Marshall. Let's start off with some breaking news. President Biden is considering a trip to Israel in the coming days, according to a senior administration official. Though no travel plans have been finalized, this decision comes days after Biden made remarks in a recent 60 Minutes interview. He said Israel's reoccupation of Gaza would be a big mistake.
We're saying we're going to do everything in our power to find those who are still alive and set them free. Everything in our power. And I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but we're working like hell on it.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken also met with various Arab leaders. Despite their criticisms of Israel's military operation, Blinken noted that the White House remains behind Israel.
And in more local news, a death investigation was launched this morning at Carson Beach in the South End. Authorities say they found the body on the beach around 7 this morning. It was spotted along William J. Day Boulevard. Police were seen searching for evidence near a cluster of bushes, but no additional details were released. The investigation is still underway.
In commuter news, a partial shutdown of the Red Line began last Saturday.
45 minutes to go from JFK to Ashmont. 45 minutes. That's a long amount for a short ride.
Red Line stations from JFK UMass to Ashmont and Mattapan will be out of service till October 29th as the MBTA looks to fix slow zones on the line. Shuttle buses will replace service to Ashmont and Mattapan during the shutdown. The MBTA urges affected commuters to allow extra travel time during this service change.
And Boston police are increasing patrols around Jewish communities and places of worship. This heightened alertness comes after former Hamas leader Khalid Mashal called for Friday to be a global day of anger.
Here in Massachusetts, state police say that a synagogue in Attleboro received a bomb threat via email on Saturday, and there were also threats made to synagogues in Rhode Island, including several in Providence. None were found to be credible. The FBI is asking people to remain vigilant.
The concern at hand is that someone may want to target temples, synagogues, or local Israeli or Jewish institutions. Schools and businesses are increasing their security. However, state police confirmed no credible threats have been made at this time. They are urging community members to stay vigilant.
To get a breakdown of what's happening in the Middle East between Israel and Gaza, we go to our international correspondent, Sabrina Lam.
That's right. On October 7th, Israel faced an unprecedented attack from Hamas, where over 1,000 were killed and hundreds were taken hostage. In retaliation, the Israeli military launched airstrikes on Gaza. An order was made for civilians to evacuate South Gaza within 24 hours before a major ground offensive was released. Tens of thousands have already fled northern Gaza, and Israel has maintained its mission to strike Hamas and Islamic Jihad targets. Supply lines of basic necessities, including water, food, and medical care, have also been blocked from Gaza civilians. UN experts have warned that Gaza is being, quote, strangled by Israel's week-long bombardment. Human rights groups have said Israel's complete siege is in violation of international law as Gaza civilians are cut off from food, water, fuel, and electricity. Almost 3,000 people, including hundreds of children, have been killed during the strikes. Humanitarian concerns have been raised by the UN, and its chief, Antonio Guterres, has urged avoidance of further escalation and stressed the urgency of humanitarian aid, saying Gaza must be allowed, quote, crucial life-saving supplies. The Pentagon responded to these attacks, now sending a second carrier strike group and fighter jets to the region. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin explains that the U.S. warships are acting as a message of deterrence towards Iran, who funded Hamas's attack. The warships do not serve to join Israel's operations, but represent an act toward preventing an escalating war. The first carrier group arrived off the coast of Israel last week. A U.S. defense official told CNN that it is unknown how long the ships will stay there. That's all I have for news surrounding the conflict between Israel and Gaza. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Sabrina. We're going to take a quick commercial break.
But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more news in the White House.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
Welcome back. We're jumping right into today's stories.
Texas student Daryl George referred to alternative school after over a month of in-school suspension for hair that violated dress code. The George family filed a federal civil rights lawsuit alleging the state failed to enforce a new law outlawing discrimination based on hairstyles. They claim this has been a recurring issue at the school. The superintendent emailed the Associated Press claiming the referral to alternative school was due to infractions they cannot disclose and had nothing to do with the hair infraction. The George family attorney called the move a retaliation. Now let's find out what's going on in the White House. We go to our political correspondent, Tommy Pozo. What do you have for us today, Tommy?
Thanks, Bishop. The Biden administration has chosen several projects throughout the country for a $7 billion Kickstarter program to produce hydrogen fuel. Biden said, quote, "It's all part of my plan to make things in America." However, some environmentalists believe hydrogen fuel's reliance on natural gas makes it a false solution. Biden said this project will be instrumental in reaching his goal of net zero greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S. by 2050. The House of Representatives is going into its second week without a speaker. In times of conflict, not only overseas, but also here in the U.S., the House is unable to function. On Thursday, Republican Steve Scalise pulled out his bid to become the House Speaker after holdouts neglected to block the party's nominee. Scalise said the majority of Republicans in the House need to come together and, quote, "open up the House again, and clearly not everybody is there." And a Colorado judge has rejected Trump's attempts to dismiss a lawsuit aiming to prevent his inclusion on the state's ballot. Trump argued that a Colorado free speech law protected him, but the judge ruled against him because the law conflicted with the need to determine Trump's eligibility quickly. The lawsuit claims that putting Trump on the ballot violates the 14th Amendment, which bars those who engage in insurrection from holding office. Trump's attorneys argued the amendment doesn't apply to him, requiring an act of Congress, and the trial is set to begin on Monday, October 30th. That's all the news I have for politics. Now back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Tommy. An update following the 2019 Elijah McClain case involving a 23-year-old unarmed black man who died 6 days after being detained by police. One of the two officers who was arrested, McClain, Randy Rodema, was found guilty of homicide and assault.
This is not a victory for me at all. This is not a victory for the human race. This is not a victory for justice.
McClain was subdued by police after his arrest, and then paramedics injected him with ketamine. His death sparked nationwide protests calling for police reform. The second officer, Jason Rosenblatt, was released of all charges, including manslaughter and assault. The jury reached a verdict over 3 days.
Now to find out what's going on with the New England Patriots this football season, we go to our sports correspondent, Emily Champagne. Emily?
Thanks, Bishop. The New England Patriots still have faith in quarterback Mac Jones, naming him the starter for Sunday's game versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Leading the 1-4 Patriots, Mac Jones is having his worst season yet. In last week's 34-0 loss against the New Orleans Saints, Jones had a passer rating of 30.5, only threw for 110 yards, and had 2 turnovers. Belichick, Jones, and other players focused on the fundamentals this week to recover, but they ended up losing once more to the Raiders 21-17. While the Pats are having a very slow start to the season, all their fans hope that they become a more cohesive team during next week's game against the Buffalo Bills. On the other hand, things are looking good for Boston in the NHL. The Bruins are on a 2-game winning streak after beating the Nashville Predators 3-2. While it was a team effort, winger David Pastrnak played a key role in their victory. Through his offensive skills, he was able to win a penalty shot in the second period and slip by defenders making excellent plays. While Pastrnak had not had much success in the preseason, he has come alive recently. He especially worked well with JVR, who scored 2 goals in Saturday's game. Now let's see how the Bruins do against the San Jose Sharks. Northwestern State star Ronnie Caldwell sadly died this past week. On Thursday morning, Caldwell was shot multiple times at University Parkway, a location near the college's campus. While police tried to aid Caldwell, his injuries were too severe. He died on the scene. As a result of this tragedy, the Demons have canceled their game against Nichols and are trying to honor the memory of such a promising young man. We send prayers not only to Caldwell's family, but also to the entire Northwestern State community. That's all of the news I have for sports today. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Emily. We're going to take a quick break, but stick with us to check out how Boston is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
And find out what Jada Pinkett had to say about her relationship with Tupac. We'll be right back.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, but with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back.
Latinx Heritage Month just wrapped up, and now we're going to go to our reporter Meg Boucher in Boston to see how the city celebrated and embraced the Latin community around this special time.
I'm standing outside of Boston City Hall where La Fiesta de Plaza is underway. Many people have come out today to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month, and everyone is very excited.
This celebration is one of the ways the city is kicking off Latinx Heritage Month. We were able to talk to some of the vendors about what this event means to them.
So personally, I didn't really have a lot of pride in my Latino heritage until high school, so I love being able to come to things like this and see other Latinos be proud of their background, proud of their upbringing, and just celebrate together, because as a community, like, we are always going through so much, so sometimes it's really nice to just take a chance to celebrate.
I think it's just, it's nice to see representation. It's also a free event. I feel like there's not enough free things, things to do outside also.
We were also able to speak with workers from Boston City Hall as they explained to us why it is important for the city to host these events.
I feel like Boston should reflect the communities that actually make it more vibrant and actually really embed their cultures, every aspect around Boston. So I feel like there's several neighborhoods where the Latin community really is what is making that area boom and be successful.
Latinx Heritage Month is from September 15th to October 15th, with festivals and events happening around Boston all month.
For WEBN News, I'm Meg Boucher.
Thanks, Megan. Following the SAG-AFTRA strike, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers announced Wednesday that they would be suspending negotiations. The Actors Guild has been on strike since July.
So really, the majority of our members are working people, just trying to put food on the table and pay their rent. And we couldn't make a deal on their behalf.
SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher sat down for a Q&A with the Associated Press Thursday, calling the suspension not only baffling, but wholly disappointing and counterproductive. Drescher encouraged the organization to stay on course. SAG-AFTRA picketers are expected to continue scheduled picket lines nationwide this week.
For much more on entertainment, let's head over to our correspondent Meg Boucher for the latest. Megan, how are you?
Thanks, Caroline. Two superstars united on the red carpet. Last Wednesday, Beyoncé showed her support by attending the premiere of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert film. The pair have been dominating the music industry for years, but with the Eras Tour and the Renaissance Tour these past few months, their influence continues to grow. And Jada Pinkett Smith has opened up about her relationship with the late rapper Tupac Shakur. She told Rolling Out magazine that she considered Tupac to be her soulmate. Pinkett further mentioned that it was not a romantic connection, solely platonic. These comments come after Pinkett's openness that she and husband Will Smith have been living separate lives for years now. Brie Larson, who we also know as Captain Marvel, is starring in Apple TV's newest book-to-screen adaptation, Lessons in Chemistry. The show follows Larson as Elizabeth Zott, a chemist forcefully turned cooking show star. Taking place in the 1960s, Lessons in Chemistry explores the misogyny that infiltrates the STEM field and how Larson's character deals with love, science, and injustices. The next episode will premiere on Friday, October 20th. That's all the news I have for entertainment. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Megan. That looks like a lot of fun. Now let's take a look at the weather for the week with our correspondent, Roger Carucci. Roger?
Thank you, Bishop. This week we can expect perfect fall temperatures with a mixture of clouds and rain in Boston. Apart from today, we are ranging mid-60s all week. Today we can expect early light showers with a wind gust of 7 miles per hour. Today is partly cloudy with a high of 60 and a low around 48 degrees. Tuesday follows with a high of 60 and a low of 48 with expected showers. Wednesday's temperature ranges with a high of 62 and a low of 47. Thursday warms up a little with a high of 66 and low 54. And we end the week with Friday's mostly cloudy day with a high of 66 and low 52. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Roger. One bear in Connecticut knew exactly what he wanted for dinner: homemade lasagna. A black bear broke into a woman's home and everything was caught on camera. The bear opening the freezer with its paw, snatching the lasagna, and then using the freezer as a step stool to sneak back out of the house through the window. The woman said the bear did no damage to her home. He was just a little hungry.
Well, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us for WEBN News. I'm Bishop Marshall.
And I'm Caroline Reese. For more, go to WEBN.TV or our Instagram at WEBN General News. Have a great night. Take care.